Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to the end game, as I'm calling it, the end game for the domestic season. It's all coming to head, and there's so much to talk about. There's so many things that have to be decided. Well, some things have been decided, but there's still a lot that needs to be decided. So we're going to do a full roundup today of all the major leagues in Europe and what's left to be decided. Well, not all. Well, there's only 5 major leagues, and one of them already has most of the things confirmed, but we've got 4 other things. We're not going to talk about Germany's relegation battles and whether Bielefeld or Con, which of those two are going to get relegated. I think my guest here might not have the information on that, so we'll leave that one. But we're going to cover the Premier League. We're going to cover the Premier League's European race. We're going to cover La Liga's title race. We're going to cover the Serie A's top 4 race, and then also Liga has a title race for what seems like forever. I can't remember the last time Liga had a title race, but we'll cover all that. So to join me today, we've got back again Knayha Monga back on the show. Knayha, nice to have you again.
Thanks, Rohit. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah,
Endgame, definitely.
Yeah, and sadly, you have no stake in this one because United already have second, and Barcelona already know they're not winning. So
it's much more stress-free, I would say.
Yeah, that's more stressful. And then you got Zeehan here joining as well. Zeehan, welcome on the show. You've got a lot riding because both Madrid are supposedly in a title race, just about hanging on, and Chelsea have a little bit of an upper hand, but still something to play for.
I don't really know if we have an upper hand because I just wanted to say this before we start. People are comparing this season to 2012 a lot, but people keep forgetting we had a very similar run in 2008, where we went to the FA Cup finals and the Champions League finals, and we had a good standing in the league. Ultimately, we lost everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was the League Cup final, not the FA Cup final. So just a difference there.
Oh, sorry, we were runners up in the League Cup final. We lost everything at the end. That's the main point. So I'm really afraid of something like that happening again.
Yeah, well, that was a treble horror, as it's called, where you finish second in 3 competitions. It's a treble horror, as they call it. But yes, well, at least they finished second that season, which is not going to be the case this season. But that will be interesting. By the way, who did they lose in the League Cup final in 2008 too? That was the last time Tottenham won a trophy. The League Cup in 2008. That was the last time Tottenham won a trophy. Juan de Ramos was the manager then. Anyway, a little bit for trivia.
He was a good manager.
I'm sorry. Juan de Ramos.
He was a good manager. Yeah, he was.
Double winner. Yeah, double Europa League winner with Sevilla as well. And Chelsea's manager at that time was Avram Grant. Interesting one there. Anyway, for the stats. But all right, let's get into it. Let's start. We're going to go in a loop. So we're going to start with the Premier League first. We're going to start with that. And I say race for European places because while all the attention is on the top 4 race, European places haven't been decided as yet. There's still places up for grabs in the Europa League, the Europa Conference League as well. And by the way, the race for the Europa Conference League is a reverse race where, who doesn't want to be in it? Like who wants it? Like, it's like, that's one thing, right? But let's start with the top 4 race. So the equation is pretty simple. Chelsea at the moment, and I've got a table here open with me so I can look through it because it's so tight and I need to keep reminding myself. So the equation is Chelsea on 67 points, Liverpool are on 66 points, and Leicester are on 66 points at the moment. So just a point between the 3 teams, but Liverpool are 4th because of a better goal difference by 5. So at the moment, the equation is simple. Chelsea play Aston Villa, Liverpool play they play Crystal Palace, and Leicester play Spurs. So that's the final 3 games. Yeah. Yes, Leicester Spurs, and that's going to be interesting. So the equation is simple. If Chelsea beat Aston Villa, they finish 3rd. If Leicester, beat Spurs, they'll still might not qualify. They'll still need a massive win. And then Liverpool, of course, if they beat Palace, they should qualify depending on how many goals are needed. So, let's start with you, Zeehan. I mean, surely Leicester, 2 seasons in a row where they're going to miss out. What do you think? I mean, how is that going to go?
Definitely. I mean, it was obvious Liverpool was going to get into this. They could be 7th, they could be 10th, but they're too strong to not go into the Champions League. Leicester, I mean, I just want to keep this brief. This is the showing of what champions are like, and we've seen Man U do this for years under Ferguson. They always win at the last moment, and it's how you preserve yourself or how you perform at the end that decides what you do, because you can dominate the entire season. A while ago, we were talking about 2008 Chelsea, right? Right before Avram Grant, Luis Felipe Scolari was our manager. There were a few matches where he was winning 7-0, 5-0, 3-0, but then he just went on a very bad run of form. So again, it's what you do at the end. Leicester City, they just bottled it. Again, like last year, this year they're going to do the same. But fantastic job for what they've done in these 4 years, though. They were in 20th just in 2015, right? That's 6 years ago. Now they're actually competing for a UCL spot. So why not? If you're asking me, yes, Tottenham are not an easy team. They have arguably the hardest draw amongst all three of us. Yes, Aston Villa are on form, and we do face them at away. But I'm sorry, Leicester. I mean, Tottenham is not an easy walk in the park.
Well, Aston Villa beat them just so you know in the last game.
Yeah.
So, by the way, a little bit of incorrect thing there. Actually, in 2008, the manager was Jose Mourinho, and then he was sacked. So Scolari joined in 2008 after Euro 2008. He was still manager of Portugal at the time, and he was
Right, my bad.
and he was replaced with Gus Hiddink. But anyway, yeah, I know more about Chelsea than Chelsea fans. There you go. And who says Chelsea fans are plastic?
We try to block out these toxic memories.
Well,
Way too many.
yeah.
We
But
have way
anyways,
too many exes.
yeah, I mean, I think, Knayha, do you see any situation? I mean, I think it's a 4-1 conclusion, but do you see any situation where Liverpool will not make the top four?
I wish they don't. I really
All
don't
that people do.
make it. I don't really want them to, because they've been riding on a high. I think they've been riding on a high, but they've been terrible this season. Definitely, because of injuries, you can say. Even now, Jota, they don't even have, like, they couldn't hold off one more injury. They had one more injury like just before the end as well. So they've been really unlucky. But then I don't know. I just, Leicester has been, like, as you said, it's basically, football, the whole emotional side of it with the fan, like them winning the FA Cup. You just feel for them that they kind of didn't make it. They just didn't make it last season. And you just want them to, just imagine Vardy in a European night.
Well,
I am like, that's that, and then possibly if Real Madrid and play Leicester City, and then Vardy against if Ramos stays. I don't know. So I'm just, it just, because Premier League right now is just, it's kind of done and dusted, to be very frank. We know the top four possibly in the back of our heads already, but just to make it a little interesting, it'll be amazing to see Leicester City kind of coming, and it's possible. Tottenham have not been doing well. They've, even with Mason coming in, last match they were like nowhere. They kind of bottled up again. But again, Leicester City has they're on a high again because of the FA Cup, but then they lost to Chelsea. But Chelsea have too much to play for right now, because they have a champion, as Zeehan already said, that there's a chance that they don't win anything. They're like out. So Tuchel has to make a call there. So it's just a little more pressure. And they have to reach out. Like, Liverpool will also have to reach out. They'll have to score. They'll try to stamp the authority that they win these games. But for Liverpool to kind of play their last game against Crystal Palace with Roy Hodgson, kind of his last game as well, and Benteke on a form like that, is like holding defenders for fun, and then scoring. And I don't know where that form came in. And then he's like, so and again, defenders, Liverpool, it's a completely different story. They've not had the best defenders as well, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a walk in the park, because last game we did see Firmino coming up suddenly. We did see Robertson finding some form, but then Crystal Palace are on a high right now. We can't just deny that. So just all those things, I just, as a football fanatic, just purely because United is second. It's nothing. But I would want to see Leicester kind of coming up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a case there for not having the cup finals before the final game of the domestic season. I mean, what difference a week makes, right? Last week they'll all be celebrating. This weekend, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, yes, I mean, the subplots are there. There are lots of subplots. I mean, obviously, Roy Hodgson, former Liverpool manager, possibly managing his last game ever against Liverpool. That will be interesting if he stops Liverpool from getting into the Champions League. That would be fun. Chelsea also have the Champions League cushion, by the way. Now, this is something the Guardian said. I don't know how true this is, but if Chelsea finish fifth and they win the Champions League, England will still have 5 teams playing in next season's Champions League, so they won't take the 4th-team spot. Now, I don't know how true this is. I don't know if Guardian made a typo or whatever.
No.
But this is written in this is a Guardian article, so I'm not saying it. This is what the Guardian is saying. So I would assume that they have qualified journalists enough to talk about that, but I don't know what the situation is at the moment. My understanding is that if United win the Europa League, then that should be fine because you can have 5 teams playing in the Champions League. But if United don't win, then will they have Spain and England both cannot have 5 teams? I don't think they can have 5 teams from both countries. But I guess I don't know what the situation is. We'll only know at the end of next week what will happen. Maybe it will not come to that. I mean, Gian, your prediction. Let's do predictions here. Who do you think is going to finish 3rd and 4th by the end of the weekend?
Like I said, Chelsea and Liverpool, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Knayha, what do you think? You're muted.
It's Chelsea and Leicester.
Chelsea and Leicester. All right, yeah, they're going for the hard thing. No, I think it'll be Chelsea and Liverpool that will finish 3rd and 4th. I just you don't think Liverpool are going to lose to Palace. I think that they've got too much momentum now, and Chelsea. Well, I mean, yeah, I fear for Chelsea more than I fear for Liverpool actually, because Chelsea taking on Villa. I've got Jack Grealish who's got a point to prove. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot, there's subplots there. So I fear more for Chelsea than I fear for Liverpool. But we'll see what happens. But on that note, European spots, there's still some other European spots to be decided. So West Ham are more or less certain of 6th place as long as they can get a draw from the last game. That's what they need. Spurs on 59 points, Everton on 59 points, and Arsenal miraculously are still in with a shout of getting into Europe. They're on 58 points. So just 1 point separating 7th, 8th, and 9th. That is the spot for the Europa Conference League positions. Now, I mean, the question obviously is, there's obviously a lot of conjecture and things like that about what's going to happen, but it does feel like a competition no one wants to play in. So, I mean, what are Liverpool going to do? If West Ham take the lead, or if they're drawing in the 70th minute, will they start putting own goals in so to allow, the other 2 teams to overtake them? So it's going to, because I mean, yeah, it does feel, I mean, I don't get why, the Conference League is I thought that it should be for the 8th place team, but it's for the 7th place team. So they're only going to have 2 English teams in the Europa League. For some reason, I don't know why they're doing that. They need to have more teams in the Europa League. It devalues the competition. But I mean, the only question I want to ask is, can Arsenal qualify for Europe after all of that? Knayha, what do you think? Like, I mean, are they going to qualify for Europe?
No. Arsenal, finding form at the end of a season is not finding form. It's just basically Euros looming out. You just kind of scout, you do kind of, telling the national team coach or the manager and that, you're there, you've not, but then it's not the end of the season. You can end the season on a high. It's always a good note to end on, but you have Euros looming. I think this all, Pepe scoring and Arsenal kind of suddenly, 3-1 and, these are just, it's just a spring. I don't think it's actual form. Now it's going to get tough because they have bottled up in pressure. The last game there was no pressure, but this game just suddenly has more pressure on them, and I really don't see them coming out of it with flying colors.
Yeah, well, keeping in mind Arsenal do have the easiest of the 3 teams because Everton have to play Manchester City, who may or may not be in Champions League mode. I don't know what that's going to be like, but they've lost to Brighton, so they probably not want to lose a second game. Gian. So they've got Manchester City. Leicester are playing, Tottenham are playing Leicester. So you'd expect Leicester will want to go out and get a win in that game. So it's quite plausible that Arsenal could finish 7th, can't they? Okay. Do you think that's possible, Jihan? I mean, just in that point there.
Well, it's like Monga said, 7th is a far reach. Finding form at the end of the season is not finding form at all. I believe I go with him, even though it does matter what you do in the end. But I do think that, I mean, with due respect, it's Arsenal. So recently they have not.
They sound like disrespect. I didn't say due respect or disrespect.
Somewhat, yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah, they did a double over us this season, but I mean, beating Chelsea is not going to get you any trophies or anything. So, I mean, the teams above them, they're actually on pretty good form. You beat West Ham, beat Tottenham, whoever it is. I don't see Arsenal. Maybe they can fight for the Conference League. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that's the 7th. Yeah, that's the 7th. That's the one because they're not going to catch West Ham.
They're not going to catch
from them.
I don't.
The best they can do is they can finish 7th. Yeah, 7th.
I mean, they were 12th or something just a few days ago. They won a few matches on the drought.
Yeah, so
I don't see them winning their last match. To be honest, I don't even see them winning the match.
Okay, yeah, that's what they need. They need to win. If they win, they will. Yeah. Considering that Everton are playing City and Spurs are playing Leicester, the odds are that if they win, they could very well finish 7th. So that.
But Arsenal is also playing Brighton, so Brighton just won against City.
That's true. Yeah, well, that's 10 Man City. I mean, well, Arsenal do have a propensity to get very.
I'd like to point something out that this is City's last game before the Champions League final. The Champions League final is
next
it's
Saturday.
on the 29th of
next Saturday.
Our time.
Next Saturday.
But next Saturday.
Yeah.
So they are probably going to want to rest most of their players. An advantage we won't have, but they get that advantage. So I don't think Everton is going to face the full wrath of Manchester City.
Yeah.
Whereas they're going to have Everton themselves are going to have a lot to play for.
Yeah, I think that's a question for next week when I get the preview guys out, because I was thinking about that. Actually, I asked this in my last episode. Like, is it that City will be sort of like well rested, but then will they be a bit rusty, or will Chelsea be a little bit more battle hardened because they played all these big games going into the Champions League? So it's a little bit of a question to think about how you look at it mentality wise. Sometimes it helps that you're playing so many games and you're rested, whatever. So anyway, but we won't get into that now. That's for the Champions League final. We'll talk about that next week. But let's move on. Let's move on to the next league. Let's move on to France, Ligue 1, and incredible moment, because normally you think Ligue 1, oh yeah, PSG have won this. They've done whatever they needed to do, and it's simple and done deal. But it's not this season. This season, Lille have really come out of nowhere almost, and they are leading the league 80 points, and PSG on 79 points, so 1 point gap. And with the final game of the season coming up, I believe Lille are playing Angers. Game. And I'm trying to find the one that PSG I think.
PSG is playing Brest.
Brest, yes. All right. So yes, Angers and Brest. I mean, I like some of the names are very interesting. The French teams, though. But
you don't really hear them actually. I think they're the first time, because of this league being so tight. You kind of actually like, who are they playing?
Yeah. Well, but I do know French teams. It's just, yes. I mean, because I used to not follow Ligue 1, but I used to play FIFA a lot, and I used to sometimes play with Lyon back when Lyon were a big deal.
Yeah.
So I know some of the French teams, but yes, but it's interesting names. But anyway, so Angers and Brest looks like fairly mid-table teams, both of them. Angers, I think, are in a little bit of form coming in, and I mean, it's remarkable to think about. Zeehan, let me just ask this to you: have you ever heard of a striker who scores goals? Like, I know Chelsea have strikers who don't score goals. Have you heard of a striker who scores goals? Burak Yilmaz has scored 35 goals this season. He said, well, I don't know if he scored 35 goals, but I know he's 35 years old. He scored a lot of goals. It's fantastic to see what Lille have done. I mean, do you think Lille, if at the end of this, if they win, like if they don't win, let's assume they don't win, will they look back at it as a disappointment, or will they look at it as an achievement to still finish second and to run PSG so close?
I'd see it as a disappointment because. Again, with due respect, I obviously don't know the world about Agnes, but I don't think that they're going to be able to stop such a hot form Lille. And truth be told, this is Lille's or anyone else's chance to win the league ahead of PSG. I mean, we're not just talking about Lille winning the league. We're talking about a team other than PSG winning the league. Like it or not, the entirety of France, or if not the world, who follows Ligue 1, wants Lille to win the league. So they aren't just going to be disappointing themselves, they're going to be disappointing everyone around them. So if they do fail to win, and I do think they need to win since PSG are just a point behind, and let's assume PSG might win their match. If they do fail to win this, they're not just disappointing themselves, they're disappointing everyone with them. So as a result, I do feel that they might not be able to just be happy with the compromise that, okay, we're second, we gave PSG a run for their money. I think the aggregate social disappointment is going to get to them at one point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the only thing is that Brest is still fighting against relegation. So there's just a point about the relegation. Also, they need a point or a win to try and make sure that they don't get relegated. Whereas Angers, I think, are fairly secure. They are going to finish mid-table, that they're not going to get relegated. Yeah. So that might play a part. I mean, Knayha, what's your prediction? Let's go. What our prediction is going to do it. It's going to be Lille. It's going to be PSG.
I think it's going to be PSG. PSG will make it through. It's I don't know. It just the pressure. Maybe big Lille is just it's something like experience comes in play. They have good players. It's not that they don't have good players, but it just at these moments when you kind of are you're trying to beat PSG. They have and that's itself is a pressure.
Yeah, well, they do have Yilmaz, who's quite an experienced striker, so hopefully he'll bring some of that. They do have.
But then I think the first goal.
Yeah.
This
Well, if you were
like,
Angers, would you already won? I mean, Gian was saying you're doing it for the league. Why not Angers just be like, well, we're playing under 20 months, just go out and have fun, get the 3 points that you need. I just do that because we don't need the points. I mean, Angers are pretty much safe where they are. They're not going to get relegated at this point. So, maybe. I mean, I know. I'm not advocating that, whether I'm not advocating any team to cheat like that. But you could.
no, but that's the thing. But I think, see, we're discussing this because it's been so close. So I think, okay, you have to give credit to Lille.
Yeah.
You have to give credit to them because PSG kind of, I think because of Pochettino coming in, they kind of moved their focus to Champions League completely. They were like, we don't care if you win this, if you don't, because we won it every time. And that's, they just focus on Champions League. But then considering, the Champions League were where they were and how they kind of ended as well. And then suddenly they come back home and see, oh, we're not winning this. This is going to go to the wire. I think that also kind of is so. But then again, I think that they have big game players. They know how to kind of put pressure. The first goal, just imagine PSG scores the first goal in the second minute, and the news comes through to Lille's manager, and they're already 1-up. Think about the pressure at the halftime talk if they're not 1-0 up. If Lille is not winning that game in the first half, just think of the pressure that those players will have. Just listening or kind of that PSG has kind of already 5 goals up. I think it's just mental, and it's just really kind of, and I think that's where experience kind of comes out, and big game matches, big game players, and yeah. But then full credit to Lille. There's nothing you can take away from them. They've been amazing, but it's just again the last gasp, or as you said, the end game. So that's what matters.
That is what it is. There's also the matter of third place to be decided. The final Champions League spot that will be between Lyon and Monaco. We won't get into that, but there's another one to come as well. Lyon taking on, one of them plays Nice, the other one plays, I believe they play, let us see. I believe the other one plays Lens. So that's another one. They won't get into that, but that's another interesting subplot. It's been a very competitive leagues this season. I think there's been a lot of fight, and I wonder if that has something to do with fans not being there, something to do with a little bit more equalizing factors. But it's interesting to know how close these things have been this season, whereas in past seasons they've been more of a done deal very quickly. So we're not used to that.
Maybe the European Super League talks kind of did do some magic there.
Maybe there, yeah, true. I mean, I think PSG were just a little bit underhanded as well because of their run last season. They went to a Champions League final, so they had a very late start of the season. They didn't have not a lot of preseason. They had to get right into it. The other French teams, they had a little bit more time of preseason because they don't go that far aside from Lyon. But Lyon were not playing in Europe this season anyway, so they had that benefit. So I mean, there's things like that. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck going your way, basically, to be able to beat PSG. That's what it is. But here's another thing. For all the talk of PSG Ligue being full of farmers, this is the second time in 9 or 10 years that PSG might not win the league title. They did it once before when Monaco won it. On the other hand, Serie A had like 9 years of consecutive champions, and then Bundesliga is still waiting for a new one for 10 years. So I mean, there's things like that, right?
They'll get there. Bundesliga will get there. They'll get there.
Eventually.
I
don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, Leipzig was rising, and then they bought all of the players.
I mean, Leipzig were coming through, and then they just got their manager and their player now. So Dortmund. But anyway, I will move on to Serie A. We'll move on to Italy now. We go a little bit south, and the league title is already done. We have a new league champion. That is Inter, who have taken Juventus. And they're sitting pretty well ahead of everybody else. So that's wonderful for them. But below them, Juventus, the deposed champions, are still fighting for their lives to try to get into the Champions League next season. So the equation is pretty simple at the moment. You've got AC Milan on 76 points, title challengers at one point, but now struggling. They've got Napoli on 76 points as well. And they've got Juventus on 75 points, 1 point behind. Napoli have a better goal difference, but in Serie A, it's about head-to-head results. So on head-to-head result, at the moment, Milan are ahead of Napoli. And I believe Juventus actually have a better head-to-head result over Milan. I'm not sure about that, but I think they do. So that'll be the final deciding point. So if Juventus can get a draw and AC Milan lose, then they will go above them. Or if Juventus win and Milan lose. So at the moment, I think it's a little bit tricky to say. Milan, though, they have to play Atalanta in their final game. Atalanta, the team that is second. So they're confirmed that they will be playing Champions League next season. They've not confirmed second spot yet, but that could happen. And then just looking at the other fixtures, who Napoli are playing. Napoli, I believe they are playing
Verona.
Verona. Yes, Napoli are playing Verona, and Juventus are playing Bologna away. So yeah, so
Bologna. Yeah.
I mean, Milan and the East have the hardest of the ties, really. I mean, at the moment, it's like if you're a Milan fan, you're just wondering. It's Zlatan Ibrahimovic is injured; he's not going to be playing this one, so they're going to miss his experience. But I mean, let's start with Juventus. I mean, why are they in this position? They shouldn't be in this position of trying to scrape into the Champions League spots. But why are they in this position?
It's basically, I think, again, they just see. It's not about when you have a streak like that. You can't, you suddenly take your eye off the ball and there's suddenly someone else who just kind of outperformed you. It's simply that. Inter Milan have been amazing. Atlanta have been really, really good. And Milan, Napoli and Juventus, they find themselves just kind of looking above and thinking, what are we missing? And I think all three are in the same boat there, because that's why you see that there is not much of a difference. Juventus, in my view, was like, you could say that they've missed chances. There were games where they could have closed or won easily, but then they bottled up again. They tried, and they like. I go back to the Atlanta Juventus game. It was a very cagey game. It was like back to back, like on attack, both ways. And then they couldn't finish. They just couldn't finish in front of the goal. And losing again to Benevento or something, I think in March or something, one game and 1-0. That kind of just, again, you just start losing confidence. You just kind of feel, okay, this is slipping away. And because they've not lost against the big clubs. It's not that they've lost against Napoli or Milan. They've thumped their authority there, but then they've lost to clubs where they would have not even thought of it. They were like, okay, this is in the bag. And also, I think moreover, in the back of the head, Champions League is always a priority for these clubs. And when you get Cristiano, and he's basically interested in Champions League. He's not a player that he's won everything. He's won all the leagues. He's done everything. He just wants to shine in the Champions League because that's the biggest stage. And he'll be thinking like, what went wrong this season? Because and them losing to Porto, I think that just kind of was like, it just kind of I think that would have thrashed a lot of hopes and confidence. They're just like, because when they came back, they started very immediately 3 goals. But then again, losing immediately, and it's just that shaky, shake in the confidence, I feel. And also the important part is like the focus now has kind of come back to Champions League. They suddenly realize that there is a chance that they're not going to make it, and also, and in my view, it's good for a team like Juventus to kind of feel that hunger, because you just look at Inter Milan. I really want to talk about Inter Milan, like how good they've been, but I guess Juventus has been, for the 10 years they've been that good. But then this season there was somebody more like who had more hunger. I think that's what I can say about Juventus.
Yeah. Well, speaking of hunger, speaking of Juventus and that, Gian, if Juventus make the top 4, would you still keep Andrea Pirlo, or would you sack him and bring somebody else in? And I'm assuming he's gonna go if they don't make it to the Champions League. But if they make it, do you think they'll keep him, or do you think they should find somebody else?
I have a feeling this has a lot to do with Ronaldo. He obviously doesn't have the player power that Messi has at Barcelona. But again, if Juventus are 5th, bye Pirlo. I'm sorry, but something that I've seen in the Italian league, they really respect their legends a lot. So Pirlo has this history with Juventus and this fame in Italy. I think he's going to get another season if he can somehow get into the Champions League, because ultimately, let's be honest, you're either first or you're 4th, because there's no difference between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. If you get into the Champions League, that's good. And this will be like Pirlo's trial season, if you will. I think he will be given time. Not every team is Chelsea that you sack the manager as soon as you can. So yeah, Juventus will give him the time if he gets into the Champions League. Otherwise, I don't think so. Ronaldo's leaving for sure. And with Ronaldo, Pirlo is going to be going too.
Okay, well, that's interesting around my league. Well, I tell you what, Chelsea have nothing on Watford when it comes to sacking managers. Now that's next level, man. Chelsea sack managers when they fail. Watford sack managers even if they achieve something, then they just
Yeah.
find right there. But anyway, that's something. But I mean,
Well, Di Matteo was sacked after he won the double. So
sorry, who?
Di
Di
Matteo.
Matteo, Roberto Di Matteo,
Yeah,
Chelsea.
that season next one,
Champions
right? Like, but he didn't take them into the Europa League. But then he got them into the Europa League the following season, so that's why he was
And
sacked.
then we won the Europa League. So
They
yeah,
won
why
it,
not?
yeah.
Maybe that was his plan.
Yeah, I mean it's potatoes and all that. But
So
yes,
maybe Pirlo needs to learn something from Chelsea, I guess. Like you get
how to take a Champions League club into the Europa League. Well, first he's got to get them to win the Champions League, then take them into the Europa League after that. That makes sense, doesn't it? But I mean, Gian, I mean, Milan have drawn the short end of the stick. Seriously, I'm having to play Atlanta in the last game, and that's sometimes that's how it crumbles. I'm sure they wouldn't have expected themselves to be in this position. I just look at Milan, and I think a lot of it reminds me a lot of Man United this season, where I feel like where they are now feels like an overachievement rather than that this is a level of the team. It just feels like an overachievement. If they don't make that, I mean, if they do get in the Champions League, it feels like, well, the team is not ready for it. But I mean, with all the players that they're missing, with everything that's going on, how do you what will be the strategy for them to try and go and win this game against Atlanta? Because that's what they need to do. They need to win it. That's what are they going to look at really in terms of trying to win this one?
I think the biggest problem with Milan is that well, obvious. This goes without saying that they're too stuck up in the past. Uh, it goes without saying. 2005 Milan. It was like you play a fantasy football, the game, and then you just increase everyone's stats to 99. That's what the Milan squad was back then. I mean, I think I remember playing on PES. The average ratings were like 91, 95, 94. That's what Milan were. But let's be honest, that's not what Milan is right now. The reason I say this is because I've seen the same play on field. Obviously, I haven't watched all 37 games, but Milan do try to approach games with as much vigor and as much passion as they used to before. Let's get this straight. Their talisman is a 39-year-old. Um, I think he's just a bit younger than my dad. So the point here is that you can't keep doing that. He's injured too, right, Ibrahimovic?
Yeah, he's
yeah,
in
yeah.
Yeah.
He's gone.
And
He's
the
not
team
even
is
playing the Euro
young.
now.
He's also out of Euro, right?
Yeah.
So the team is young. They're energetic. I get it, but they can't keep playing like that. If you ask me what the approach should be, um, as far as I know, they might get through with a draw because yes, they do have the toughest of the bunch, but well, you can always count on Juventus to slip up, and you don't know what happens with Napoli. So I really think Milan should focus on the counter-attack because they do have pacey players and play defensive because that defense leaks so many goals, so many goals. Donnarumma is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, but he can't do it alone without a good defense.
Well, let me just say that they're playing against a team that loves to score goals in Atlanta. So I don't know how
Yes.
how much back in the bus will be ideal. But I mean, what would happen to all the players if Napoli, were to bottle this and not get into the top four? I mean, imagine being a player coming back to Gennaro Gattuso talking to you after not getting into the top four. I mean that should be motivation enough, isn't it, for any player to know that Gattuso is going to be upset if we don't get into the top four.
I think that's the scariest part for them. But what's been really good for them that they've actually been on a hot streak in the last couple of games.
Yeah,
they scored 4 against Spezia, 5 against Udinese. They won against Fiorentina as well. So I don't think them to be. I don't think they're going to have an issue in this game. It's going to be a fairly easy game for them. Verona, they're not. They basically are not known for the best defensive ways. But then again, it could be. It's the end of the season. Everybody's kind of putting the best foot forward. They don't want to lose. I think that's the best mentality. Like everybody's happy with the draw on the last game. Everybody just kind of okay. Let's we're done with the season. We'll meet you next season. But then it's something to play for because Napoli has to they will want to stamp their authority on that top four. Milan and because there's a tricky situation with Milan and Juventus there because Juventus has a very high chance to kind of just get into third immediately just and that's that and Napoli would be like okay we can't think of kind of playing it safe or kind of not winning this game or also they've been they've been good this season, but then as I said, Juventus, Napoli, and Milan are in the same boat. They just underperformed the whole season, but they've not been able to. Everybody has different reasons. Like Juventus has such high class of players, right? Look at their bench and look at their playing 11, and you suddenly feel, why are they fifth? And then you suddenly look at Milan and they're like, who's their player? And then
Yes,
and then you
that
look
happens a
at
lot nowadays.
and then you look at Napoli. And you're like, is Insigne or is there still is their best player, and so on and so forth. So you get so they're basically in the same boat for me, because they've not been able to kind of come out or kind of outshine some way, but Napoli and Verona, it's easy for Napoli to kind of win this game. I don't see a problem for them. But yeah, just thinking of Gattuso, at the end of the, if something happens in the half, he's so animated on the touchline.
Well, he was animated as a player as well, so that's
he's so animated on the touchline that it's just amazing. I'm just thinking, like, it's never a dull moment. He's always kind of screaming or kind of pushing somebody or just kind of in your face to the referee or something. It's just, but then it's good. I think Napoli will get through.
like Jurgen Klopp, basically. That's
but much longer with specs.
Jurgen Klopp ain't got nothing on Gennaro, so that's just next level. But yeah, I mean, Verona, Bologna, both are mid-table, safely mid-table. They have pretty much nothing to play for really for the season, so it'll be interesting to see how they approach this game. But let's go predictions. Knayha, who do you think is going to finish third and fourth between Milan, Napoli, and Juventus?
I think it's going to stay the same. I think it's going to be Milan and Napoli. Juventus.
Oh, you're going for Milan win over Atlanta. That's bold. By the way, it's interesting. If Milan do beat Atlanta, they will leapfrog them into second. So that is what to think about. Yeah,
because that's added motivation. That's if you're like literally fighting, it's basically if you want to fall a cliff or you want to make a leap, that's it.
Yeah, look up rather than look down. That's interesting. Yeah,
that's where Milan stands.
Yeah. Gian, what do you think?
If you ask me what I want, Milan and Napoli to go through, I mean, it would be so amazing to see Juventus out of the Champions League, especially after all of that ESL drama.
Yeah.
But if I have to be practical, I honestly see Milan missing out.
Yeah, I think
Napoli and Juventus.
Yeah, conventional wisdom suggests it will be Napoli and Juventus who will be playing. Milan will probably miss out. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. To see what happens. But if only there was a competition where you didn't need to finish in the league placings to qualify, where you could just qualify automatically every season.
Wonder if that has happened or not.
Let's not go into that. I don't want that.
We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there today. For sure. But just a little bit of a note as well that even here, the Conference League, Lazio are pretty much confirmed of a spot in the Europa League. So that's where they will playing. But Roma might still, there's an outside chance that they might miss out on the Conference League spot which they occupy. Sassuolo are just 2 points behind. Mourinho next season in the Europa Conference League. How about that? And I'm pretty sure he's going to brag if he wins it. I'm the first winner of the Europa Conference League. I'm the manager won it. I'm pretty sure he's going to brag about that if Roma play in it in a minute.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And I'm just when this was announced, I was just wondering, okay, Mkhitaryan, Smalling, I'm like, how many Manchester United players that he didn't play are in Roma? And then that was so. But then just
City as well over there. That'll be interesting to see.
So bragging rights definitely, and I think he has his own legacy. Wherever Roma's finished, it wouldn't matter to him because it'll be more. I think Italian the Serie A has kind of got a new face again as a manager to kind of who'll keep them in the headlines, except of and also with Cristiano being there if he stays there. But then it's but I think Roma. I don't see Roma kind of bottling it up for.
We joke and I'm sure the Conference League will be a very good competition to watch as well. I like the Europa League. I know a lot of people don't say this, but I like the Europa League a lot. So I'm sure the Conference League will be a good competition. We make fun of it, but it's a good competition for some of the lesser lights of Europe to make a name for themselves. And so that's wonderful. But quick subplot, small. We're not going to discuss it. Subplot could be next season's final Roma against Tottenham. How about that? For a European final, Jose Mourinho's old club against his new club, and who wants to be the winner of that one will be interesting. But all right, let's move on to La Liga now, a final one for today. And I mean, this is interesting, La Liga. So it all comes down to this. After everybody saying no, we don't want it. No, we don't want it. No, we don't want it. No, says yes, we want it. Yes, we want it. But in La Liga said no, we don't want it. No, we don't want it. It's like Atletico, like, oh, we're not worthy. I mean, it's Real and Barcelona. Barcelona, like, oh, we're in debt, so we don't deserve it. And then we are like, well, yeah, we bought Hazard for 100 million euros, so we don't deserve to win it either. I mean, it's all sorts of fun. But it comes down to this: Atletico Madrid on 83 points, Real Madrid on 81 points. Those two at the moment, the top 4 spots are pretty much decided, so there's not much there. And those two are the ones that are fighting it out. Atletico, the equation is simple. A draw will not be enough for Atletico because Real Madrid have a better head-to-head record, which is again a tiebreaker. So Atletico need to win. Real obviously need to win and hope Atletico draw or lose, and they will be champions. So I mean, let's look at the final fixtures. I believe La Liga. It's where are we? Right here. Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's another one. Yep. So we've got. Real Madrid against Villarreal. Now there's a game to be interested about. And then Valladolid against Atletico. So, I mean, Villarreal, you would expect them to sort of rest players because they've got the big European final coming up in not too long from now. So you'd expect that. In Valladolid, they are fighting a relegation battle at the moment. So they're going to be fighting for their lives to try and get out of it. So there's a little bit of motivation there for them. So Real Madrid seem to have it at least a little bit upper hand, would you say? Zeehan, would you say that Real Madrid have an upper hand in this one? I mean, in terms of fixtures, not in terms of winning, but does he have an upper hand in terms of the fixture list?
Well, I mean, just considering the very fact that Villarreal have this Europa League final against Man U, I don't see them fielding their entire full squad.
Yeah.
Even though it is 6 days from now.
And Wednesday, so it's like it's 3 days after the final.
Three days.
After, yeah, the Europa League is on
sorry.
Wednesday.
I was thinking about the Champions League final. My bad.
Yeah, no, Wednesday,
yeah. So there's a huge gap there, and I really think they'd rather focus on the Europa League than the La Liga, whereas Real Madrid have all to play for. I mean, yeah, I mean, nobody wants to win La Liga, let's be honest. I mean, Atletico are kind of cursed because they already went 10 points ahead. And then they tried to bottle it, but Real and Barca were like, no, we just don't want anymore. So, Atletico, I'm sorry, but you have to win La Liga. But I think Madrid will at least try to pretend to win La Liga. So, especially with, a lot of players were supposed to be leaving, Ramos, Lucas, Vasquez, and all of them. Even though, as far as I've heard of, Fabrizio Romano, I can't pronounce his name. Yeah. He did mention that Ramos was getting a contract extension, so was Vasquez. In either case, this might even be Zidane's last match too. So I think he's going to want to go on a high, and above that, everyone's motivated. They have nothing more to play for. This is the penultimate game of the season, and then we go for vacations. Well, not really vacations. We go for Euros. So again, with the Euros looming on the corner, yes, they're going to be giving everything. Villarreal is not going all in this match because, again, mind you, if they beat Man U, they qualify for next season's Champions League.
Yeah.
And like you said,
they're not going to make the Champions League. Yeah, the motivation is not there, right? For Villarreal, for this game at least. I mean, and if we've got a big European final coming, you're going to want to rest players if you have nothing to play for. So, or technically nothing to play for in this case. That'll be interesting. Knayha, I mean, it's Zeehan's where we said the upper hand is there. Atletico, I mean, how much will Luis Suarez's experience really matter? It mattered in the last game. It's probably going to matter in this one.
I think what was most interesting, not the win. Okay, I think the way they kind of, after that, they were buzzing after the win, because when they were losing and then suddenly they were winning, and then it was like they just suddenly believed we can actually not bottle it up. We can actually do it, because it's been, the La Liga has been like that. Atletico have almost won it a lot of times, and it's generally Real or Barca just kind of like, okay, thank you, we'll just take it, and that's how it's happened this season. Atletico has gone through that phase already, where they bottled it up, where they were like, just take it. Does somebody just take? And this time it's been like, okay, sorry, it's yours. And so I think, and also at the last moment when they finally won at the last game, I think that was just kind of the belief that they wanted, because more on the motivation for Real Madrid to win. Atletico has nothing to lose. They have everything to gain out of it. They're like, if they win La Liga, they're the top Spanish team going into Champions League as well. They get upper hand there. I think if you think long term as well, it's just too much motivation. And then Simeone, okay, has been unpredictable. It's been difficult. They really don't, it's been a side that has lost to teams where they shouldn't have. And in your wildest dreams, you just suddenly hear the news and like they lost. I'm like, why and how did that even happen? But then I think they just it's too much at stake right now. Simeone has not won a lot with them as well. I think his last was a Champions League, I think.
Europa League.
Europa League, he won a Europa League with them.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yes.
2 or 3 years ago, yeah.
3 years ago, if I'm not wrong. 3 years ago. And he, they hardly get a chance. This is a chance, and I think that's enough motivation. Real Madrid, obviously, there's no doubt. The Zidane, just Zidane being there. He's kind of mastermind, kind of playing players, pushing them, getting. They've not been on the highest motivation. Just be very honest. Real Madrid and Barcelona have not been at the highest level throughout the season. They've had such a difficult season, just at players level individually, and also the debt and the ESL and everything that just happened. It's just, and Atletico just been kind of quietly pitching, just kind of seeing how things go. They bottled up 10-point league, and then it's just come to the last match. Maybe it's just, I don't know, but I just really don't see them kind of losing this game.
Well, I'll just mention that it happened to Deportivo La Coruña in the last decade. I believe it was 2000, 2001, where they lost the title at the last kick of the game or something, where Real Madrid won it. So it can happen. But anyway, well, Zeehan, what's your prediction? Real or Atletico? Who's going to win it?
Atletico. Atletico. I feel Atletico.
Yeah, it just feels like that last win might be a watershed moment when they finally believe in themselves. I think that's what's important, is believing in themselves. I think they might get it. So
I wanted to point something out. In one of your podcasts at the start of the season, we were talking about the La Liga. So everybody mentioned Real Madrid, but for some reason I kept mentioning that Atletico Madrid might be the ones winning this season. For anybody going through this, please go through that video. I just remembered this right now.
Yeah,
Atletico was my favorite to win the league this season.
Yeah, well, I backed Atletico to win last season. That's why I was like, well, I'm not backing them because I backed them to win it last season and they disappointed me. So I didn't want to go back to them. So a season late, but still nonetheless done. Knayha, who do you think is going to win it?
It's Atletico for me. I think it's going to be, it's too much at stake. They have to, it'll be. But I'm just thinking. I was just thinking of that moment where what the City and the United, Aguero moment, the last.
That's the traumatizing moment. I still haven't watched that. I still have never seen that. I just saw it once, the first time that happened, and I've not seen it since. I've never had the heart.
I think I saw that 8-minute video of the last 8 minutes at least 12 times. I mean,
I've never seen
the moment Aguero. I mean,
yeah, I've never watched it. It's so traumatizing. That and the Undertaker streak ending are the two things that I've never watched once. I watched it once when it happened, and then I've not watched it. Like, those are two.
The Undertaker streak, that was useless.
So I think that's what I'm thinking of. I'm like, are we in that making, or maybe Ramos last minute header, and then oh my god, this is going to go crazy if this happens. But yeah, it's just but Atletico is they're a simple favorite because
it's in their hands.
They're fighting relegation. They're basically kind of given up, and there is no way they're going to come out of it. And so it's just simpler. Villarreal, okay, I get the argument that champions, they have a Europa League final playing in the next 3 days, but they're playing Real Madrid. It's a good test because for them as well, for the players to just kind of get warmed up. It's the same case, if United plays their full strength in the last game or not. But then again, they're playing Real Madrid. They would want to prove a point as well. Again, as I said, last game of the La Liga, there's a lot at stake because you always want to end on a high because they carry that momentum as well. Like if Villarreal lose to Real Madrid, they carry that momentum into the United final as well. They'll have something in the back of their mind. So it just, but yeah, Atletico doesn't part of this for me.
We'll see if Real Madrid have a good evening or not. We will know what happens there. So that, but conspicuous by absence is Barcelona. I'm not going to go into Barcelona season. I think we'll do a La Liga season review later in this future, so we'll talk about that. But Knayha was one thing that we just heard that a manager has just left their post. That there's a new manager that might be available. And I know Barcelona might sack Ronald Koeman. So would you consider this person to you've heard the news, obviously. I'm assuming that there was a manager who said that they're going to leave their club at the end of this season. They're going to have their last match. I'm obviously talking about Sam Allardyce, Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
So yeah, would you consider him for Barcelona to manage Barcelona?
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm just kidding. Actually, Nuno Espirito Santo. Actually,
Nuno Espirito, Nuno Espirito Santo.
I thought you were being
kind of
serious with Sam Allardyce. I was like,
no, I was not.
he's supposed to be talking about Nuno, right? Why is he mentioning Sam Allardyce?
Well, Sam Allardyce also leaving West Brom. He's also said that he's going to leave West Brom. So yeah,
but I don't think he's managing Barcelona. I don't think Barcelona's looking after him.
Well, I don't know what their budget is. It depends their budget at the moment. So maybe
maybe that's why Xavi came from just on a he's there in Barcelona right now. So yeah, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I know it won't be Sam Allardyce. As much as Sam Allardyce wants it to be him, yes, he will have a name change, but I don't mean that it'll get it. But anyway, well, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting weekend. And we've got 4 different leagues, and I don't know how we're going to keep TV sets on, and I don't know what we're going to do after that. But we'll see what happens. It's an interesting one. We all want things to go our way, but I don't know how many things will go away. But the biggest question is not even all that. The biggest question is actually where Harry Kane will go next season. That's dominating the.
I think I was just watching today's the interview. The whole interview was kind of put on the interview he did with Gary Neville. So
we'll see.
Kind of going through that. I think it's been pretty interesting. He's been open. He's been very, very open about. He's basically kind of putting himself out there, to be very frank, to anybody. And he even mentions Kevin De Bruyne. So I think he's quoting Manchester City. I think that's where he wants to go. I wonder if Atletico Madrid could make a play for him. I mean, they do have money. They spend 120 on Joao Felix, so they do have that kind of money. They probably need to sell a few players, but I mean, they've got Kieran Trippier there, and they do need a striker. So that's an interesting one. Maybe
he kind of mentioned he wants to stay in England.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's most England players. They all want to stay in England.
Yeah.
More money there. But I mean, just thinking, because he's obviously not going to play for Madrid or Barcelona because they're broke.
But it just depends where Atletico finish then.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting, wouldn't it, to see. But they will definitely finish in the Champions League. So
yes, that's definitely a spot that he wants.
And he can bring his experience of never winning trophies and always coming close but no cigar to Atletico, who obviously need players like that. I'm just kidding. I like Atletico. We'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you so much, Knayha. Thank you so much, Jian, for joining me for this wonderful preview to this weekend. I hope you guys, your predictions come true. At least you get what you're hoping for. Good, best of luck to Chelsea, to Real Madrid, to Milan, Juventus, whoever. Nobody's supporting Juventus, in Milan, Napoli, Lille. And even Atletico. Let's hope we get some positive results and some actually, in the strange and difficult seasons, maybe we'll have some little bit of positive light coming from this one. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed that video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. The more you subscribe, the more we do videos and like this, and it really helps. So please do subscribe. Please do support the channel. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye bye.